Here's a hard truth that every pastor, unfortunately, needs to hear. Your church health cannot outrun your health. The pressure that you carry doesn't stay with you, it leaks. Unhealthiness leaks. And eventually, the cracks in your health become the cracks in your church's foundation. I mean, think about it, right? A congregation can only go as far as their pastor is willing to go and has already gone. If you're emotionally brittle, if you're spiritually dry, if you're just physically exhausted, your people are going to feel it. And then here's the scary part, they're actually going to mirror it. And I know that can be sobering, but it's also very, very true. I mean, we often imagine growth barriers are, strategy and about budgets or programs. And listen, those things matter. I mean, I'm make a living off of helping churches understand strategy and put better plans in place. But one of the biggest ceilings churches hit isn't external; it's the pastor's own health. I mean, a church can't be more emotionally stable than its pastor. A church can't be more spiritually alive than its leader. A church can't be more sustainable than the one who's guiding it. That's why ministry pressure is so dangerous because it's not just about you. I mean, it directly impacts the people that you are called to lead. So when your health suffers, the mission suffers. When you are drained, the church runs on fumes. That's why this conversation is so important. It's why it matters so much. I mean, so what do you do with all this? I think you have to reframe your health as leadership, not as a luxury. Okay, your health is a stewardship. It's not selfish. Like when you are healthier, your church is healthier. When you are more resilient, your church grows resilient. When your faith deepens, your church's faith deepens. And the good news is that you don't have to overhaul your entire life to get started. You really just need some small, consistent steps in three different key areas: physical, emotional, and spiritual. Each of those areas of our life, when they are healthy, allow our church to be healthy. Let's just for a second talk about each one of these. Physical health, let's start with that. Your body really does carry the mission. And if you ignore it, eventually your leadership is going to pay the price. So what can you do to focus a little bit more on your physical health? Not to be, cheesy about it, but in your calendar, like what if you scheduled movement, not just sermons and planning? Like what if you could schedule some movement and literally block it on your calendar the same way you do block things like sermon prep? Like block out a 20-minute walk 3 times a week. Simplify your routine, if you have to. Don't make it complicated. Just move more. I mean, this job that you have, I had it for 13 years, I know. It can have you sitting in a seat 9 hours a day, and if we're honest, 7 days a week in a lot of cases. So you got to get up. You got to get moving. You got to build movement into your life. Here's the second one, and this is huge. And the studies on this are just look this up if you're not sure. You should treat sleep like a spiritual discipline. Okay. And when I say that, I mean 7 to 8 hours minimum every night. Like put your phone in another room an hour before you go to bed, buy a cheap alarm clock if you need one. But here's the reality, okay? A rested pastor is a resilient pastor. Your body, right? Your body is not separate from ministry. It's the vessel that God uses to deliver ministry, which means that our physical health is a stewardship. Now, I could give you lots of more ideas, okay? And I have failed at this so many times in my pastoral life. I have learned the importance of it. And I'm 51 now. It took until my late 40s for me to really start paying attention and doing this seriously. But it has been a game changer for me and for a lot of pastors that I work with. So at a minimum, schedule some movement and get better sleep. Those two things are a great place to start. Now, emotional health, okay? Ministry is emotionally expensive. Okay. It is emotionally expensive. Every counseling session that you have, every criticism that you receive, man, every hospital visit, it all takes a withdrawal from your emotional account. And if you don't have any deposits going in to balance it, you're going to overdraft your heart. Um, you may know this, at gavinadams.com, I have a 7 pressures that every pastor faces, and I have an assessment that lots of pastors like you have taken. I can tell you, I think, yeah, 90% of the assessments that I have received, 90% of them have emotional pressure as the number one pressure. Now, it's often closely followed by organizational pressure, leadership pressure, preaching pressure, relational family pressure. All of those can be close seconds. But I wasn't shocked, but it was very telling that many of you pastors are feeling emotional pressure because of this job. So what do you do about that? Well, let me just give you 2 things that you can try to implement. Number 1, emotionally, find one safe place where you can process. You have to have a safe place to fully process what you're experiencing. It could be a professional counselor or a professional coach like me. It could just be a really trusted friend that is outside of your church, probably. Okay. It's probably somewhere where you can be fully honest, you can be fully unfiltered, you can just be human. You can't carry everything alone. You have to find a place and a person so that you can unpack all the things that you're emotionally experiencing because of this job. And then number 2, I really would love for you to try to find a way to build one life-giving rhythm outside of ministry. This is going to feel real selfish, but it is a stewardship. It might be fishing, it might be golf, it might be coaching your kids' team, it could be woodworking, okay? Anything that brings joy without ministry strings attached, okay? Something that reminds you that you are more than just a pastor, okay? Because your people, they don't just need you on Sunday, they need you to be whole. And emotional health is what keeps you that way. So when I think about this for me, I mean, if I go back to both of these, find a safe place and a person to process, it took me a while to recognize how important this was. Eventually, and I've talked about this before on the Pressure Pod, but eventually I decided to invite 3 other men into a circle, and I met with each of them and said, I need a group of guys who can gather with me and allow me to be the focus of the gathering, my kind of heart, my issues, my frustrations. And I love you, but I don't want this to be a pastoral thing for me and you. This is for you to actually pastor me. And I was very clear and very selfish about it. And it was life-giving. In fact, those 3 guys, I am still very close friends with them, even though I'm not pastoring the church anymore. 2 of them still go to the church, 1 doesn't. And we still get to talk all the time. Now, our conversations have shifted because my job has shifted dramatically, but I still love them deeply. And I think they still love me too. It's amazing how life-giving that was. So find somebody to do that. By the way, I mentioned this earlier, but I coach leaders and pastors, really in churches all over the world now. Nobody calls me and engages me as a coach for emotional stuff, right? I mean, they are dealing with it, but the calling card for me is, we want to fuel what's working and fix what's not. We want to create a plan that helps resolve this pressure. So whether it's discipleship pathways or leadership, that's what I do. But I will tell you, every single pastor that I've ever worked with and all the ones I'm working with right now, the emotional aspect of this job is something that we discuss almost every single time we're together or every call that we are on. And the reason is because it is so hard. So you've got to find people who you can do that with. And then again, that life-giving rhythm, I mentioned golf. I kind of said that jokingly, I guess, because that's a really long sport to participate in. But you know what I did when I was a pastor? And I had little kids too, so my time was really at a premium. But I'd go to the gym And I go to the gym almost every day, and it would only be for 30, 35, 40 max minutes. But between home, I'd get into the office early, I'd leave about 4:15, go to the gym, and then go home and be home by about 5:15. That break between work and home was life-giving for me and my family. It brought the better version of me home for my wife and my children after work. It also kind of cleared out some of the space between the challenges of pastoral leadership during the week and getting back home. And by the way, the oxytocin and the chemicals that happen when you work out and exercise. I mean, again, but for me, that was my rhythm. Whatever it is for you, figure out how to do that. Okay, last one, spiritual health. It's amazing, isn't it? How easy it is for this to trip us up, right? Because sermon prep is not the same as soul care, but boy, oh boy, it's impossible at times, it feels like, to care for our souls when every time we open the Bible, we're looking at what could be taught, right? I mean, one, feed your church, but the other, soul care, is what's going to feed you. And if you're running on empty, right, your people are going to eventually experience that drought too. So again, two small things that you can do. One, well, this isn't small, but I hope it feels that way. You need to take a true Sabbath. You need to turn off that pastor switch and just be a child of God. No sermon prep, no strategy, just rest and delight. And it doesn't even have to be rest as in laying in a hammock. I mean, for me, working out became rest, going to watch your kids play sports and just have fun watching them, not yelling at them to be better, can be rest, right? But it's a Sabbath. It's a day that you are actually not doing church work. It's very important. Number two, and here's a good one, read some scripture for yourself before you read it for your people. I mean, even if it's just for 10 minutes, but let God speak to you as his son or as his daughter before you listen for sermon outlines. Like when you care for your soul, you're not being selfish, okay? You are being faithful. Now, here's the kind of reality. When you can integrate these habits, you're going to notice something. The pressure is really going to start to lift. And your sermons are going to stop carrying the entire weight of ministry because your health is going to give those sermons some staying power. And that's really where transformation happens. I mean, that's when churches move from full rooms on Sunday to changed lives throughout the week. Because, listen, here's the truth. I'll kind of leave you with this. The best gift you can give your church is not a better sermon. It's a better pastor. It's a healthier pastor. It's a healthier you. So this week, here's what I'd love for you to do. Just take one step from each of those categories, right? One step. It may just be that you decide this week, every day, I'm going to go for a very short walk. I'm going to call somebody and I'm going to read my Bible for 10 minutes. That's it. Like, it doesn't have to be a massive life overhaul for you yet. Maybe it leads to that, but start small, start incremental. Don't make it a giant project. Just start somewhere. Because, and we said this already, but small, consistent steps, they compound. And over time, they create big health. And big health creates big impact. Really quick, if you're feeling the weight of ministry pressure right now, well, first, you need to know you're not alone. Every pastor feels this. It's very normal to feel it. But, and because I think most pastors are just carrying a lot more weight than they realize. So I mentioned that pressure inventory earlier. I'd love for you to take it. It may be helpful for you. It's free. It's very easy, very simple. Take you 5 minutes. Go to gavinadams.com. In the top nav, you'll see the pressure inventory. Just take it, and I'll email you your results. You'll learn a lot more about your pressure gauges and where maybe you can begin. So just remember this. Your health isn't selfish. It is a stewardship. And your health, really, good or for better or worse, is the ceiling for your church's health.